The night the city forgot her name, the cold nearly stole her breath. Wind sliced through the bus stop like a blade, rattling the thin glass panels as rain turned to icy needles. She stood there trembling, arms wrapped tightly around herself, heels soaked, mascara threatening to run. The digital board blinked delayed again. No taxi stopped, no one looked twice, and for the first time in years, power, money, and titles meant absolutely nothing. She was just a woman trying not to cry. A few feet away, he noticed. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, but because she was shaking the way people do when they're trying to be brave and failing. Ethan Cole, 34, tugged at the frayed sleeve of his jacket, calculating the cold the way poor people do. He had just finished a double shift at a warehouse. His hands ached, his back screamed, tomorrow's rent sat like a weight on his chest. He hesitated, then he stepped forward and held out his jacket. "Here," he said quietly. "You look like you need this more than I do." She stared at him, stunned. I can't take your jacket." He shrugged, already shrugging it off. "You're shivering. I'll be fine." She took it with shaking hands, the warmth hitting her like a memory she didn't know she'd lost. "Thank you," she whispered. "You didn't have to." "I know," he said, and smiled. That small moment, barely noticed by the city rushing past, would change both their lives forever. Her name was Claire Whitmore, CEO of a global logistics empire. A woman who signed million-dollar deals before lunch. Tonight, she was stranded because her driver quit mid-argument, her phone battery died, and the board meeting she'd just left had ended with betrayal she didn't see coming. She didn't tell him any of that. They stood side by side as the rain fell harder, talking in fragments. Ethan mentioned his son, Noah, age 7, waiting at home with a neighbor because the late bus meant he'd miss bedtime again. Claire talked about her mother, gone too soon, who used to say that strength meant kindness even when no one was watching. When the bus finally arrived, it was crowded and loud and smelled of wet coats. They sat near the back, knees almost touching. Claire watched Ethan hold the pole instead of a seat, refusing to sit while an elderly woman stood. Something in her chest cracked. At her stop, she handed back the jacket. "You'll need this," she said. He shook his head. "Keep it, at least till you're warm." They exchanged numbers, hesitant, almost embarrassed. She stepped off the bus, disappearing into the rain. Ethan didn't know he'd just met the woman who would rewrite his future. The challenges didn't disappear overnight. Ethan's life remained a careful balancing act. Warehouse work by day, freelance deliveries by night, parent-teacher meetings squeezed between shifts. Noah asked why his dad was always tired. Ethan didn't have an answer that wouldn't scare him. Claire returned to a world of glass offices and quiet wars. Her company faced a hostile takeover. People smiled while sharpening knives. At night, she found herself staring at a borrowed jacket hanging by her door, reminding her of a version of herself who once believed in simple goodness. They texted. At first, it was small things. "Did you get home safe? It's cold tonight. Hope you're warm." Then longer messages. Then coffee. Claire showed up in flats and a coat without logos. Ethan talked about his wife, Emily, lost to illness 3 years earlier, and the guilt of moving forward. Claire listened without fixing, without interrupting. For the first time in years, Ethan felt seen, not pitied. For the first time in her life, Claire felt known. The truth came out slowly, and painfully. Ethan found out who Claire really was when he delivered a package to her building. The name on the directory stopped him cold. Claire Whitmore, CEO. He laughed at first. Then he felt stupid, used, small. At their next meeting, he confronted her. "You could have told me," he said, voice tight. "I wanted to," Claire replied. "But I was afraid the moment I did, everything would change." He looked around the cafe, at the prices, the polished tables. "I don't belong in your world." She leaned forward. "You belong in mine. I don't belong in theirs." Still, doubt crept in. Ethan worried about being a charity case. About being someone's project. About Noah growing up feeling less than. Claire faced her own battles. The board questioned her judgment. Rumors spread. She's distracted. She's emotional. She's lost her edge. She almost believed them. The breaking point came on a night that mirrored the first. Another storm. Another delay. Ethan missed Noah's school performance because his supervisor refused to let him leave early. He stood outside the school afterward, listening to applause fade, shame burning his throat. Claire found him there, soaked and silent. "I don't think I can do this," he said. "Our worlds are too far apart." Claire took a breath. Then let me meet you where you are. The next morning, she did something no one expected. She stepped down, temporarily, from day-to-day operations. Promoted her second in command. Redirected her energy into a new initiative: employee education, fair wages, flexible hours. A program inspired by a man who gave his jacket away in the cold. The board fought her. The media mocked her. Investors panicked. She stood firm. Months passed. Ethan enrolled in night classes. Claire helped, but never pushed. Noah laughed more, slept better. One night, he asked, "Is Claire part of our family?" Ethan smiled through tears. "I hope so." When Claire's company rebounded stronger than ever, reporters asked what changed. She answered simply, "I remembered why success matters." On a quiet evening, back at the same bus stop, Ethan handed Claire a jacket. "Just in case," he said. She laughed, eyes shining. "You never stop giving, do you?" He shrugged. "You showed me how." They stood together as the bus lights approached, no longer cold, no longer alone. Sometimes, the smallest kindness becomes the greatest turning point. And sometimes, the person who changes your life forever is just someone who noticed you were shivering.